Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to try my best to talk about the week that was in pro wrestling. So that was Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite 3. Very kind of hit and miss shows, honestly. But we'll get into that. Before I start, if I do start coughing, please do not be alarmed. I had a little procedure done on Wednesday. I'm still kind of healing. So if I do start coughing, that's why. Just like that, see? So I'm going to try to get through this as painlessly as possible to get you your review for these shows. We start off with Monday Night Raw. And, of course, we start off with a Money in the Bank review recap. Because, apparently, we're all goldfish. Although it's a short recap, so it's fine. Whatever. And we see CM Punk coming down to the ring. He's going to be cutting a promo. He says congratulations to John Cena on his retirement. Maybe I'd like to step in the ring one more time with you, which, yeah, I'd like to see that as well. And then he brings up that Drew isn't here. He got suspended by Adam Pearce for what he did on the post-show of Money in the Bank. And he got himself suspended. Then he shows that footage of Drew interrupting the Money in the Bank post-show, and it seems like accidentally hitting Adam Pearce and some referees, but I digress. So Punk then says, look, I've come back here to get my hands on Drew. He needs to feel the consequences of his actions. You shouldn't be surprised that I'm the consequences to his actions. Promise fulfilled. Though what I did was bad. Wait until I get my hands on Drew. So I'm going to ask Adam Pearce to come out here and lift Drew's suspension. And I don't care where it is, when it is. If it's out in the car park, if it's at ringside or here in the ring, I want to fight Drew McIntyre now. So instead of getting Adam Pearce, who comes out? It's Seth freaking Rollins. So he pretty much says, look, let me get this straight. Now you want to sit on the sidelines? As CM Punk actually rolled to the outside to the floor because Punk and Seth definitely have some beef. And Seth asks Punk to get back in the ring. Or are you afraid I'll kick your ass? Ooh, fighting words. Punk then gets back on the microphone, retorts, you remember the last time we shared a ring? Watch what you say. So then Punk gets back in the ring with Seth saying, me? Disrespect you? I would never. And I am understanding why actions apply to everyone but you. You hit the ref and Drew McIntyre, that's understandable. You do one thing I told you not to. The world title is my business. And then Punk retorts, yeah, I was handling my own business. Seth replies, there's a man now running around Raw with something that's not his. And I hear the people, I have no beef with you, but if I screw things up for you, spit it out. So Punk retorts, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to screw up your plans. Because it's Seth then replies, because it's you cannot be that sorry. You've always had that excuse. You've never sincerely apologized to anyone in your life. And you're the dumbest smart dude I've ever seen. And it's time for you to realize the world doesn't revolve around CM Punk. Seth continues, you can be the selfish bastard everywhere else. I'm above you. For now, I'm willing to let things slide until Saturday. Which, it wasn't just a pipe dream for me. It's the most important thing to me, the world title, and you cost me. So Punk retorts, I'll cost... personally, I'm not at 100% yet, but when you are, you'll never get to Drew before I snap your arm. Oh, dang. Okay, Seth with some fighting words. I didn't really need Seth to be back in this storyline, but who knows? Maybe Punk factors into SummerSlam somehow. Like maybe he's special guest ref or something. I don't know. Look, if Punk is good to bump, let's get him in a match already. It's time. So, anyway, we then go backstage. We are with Adam Pearce. He's on the phone with somebody. I'm going to say it's probably Triple H, saying he's dealing with the Drew problem. But the new problem is, then Dominic Mysterio walks in, interrupts, saying that the problem is, I don't want to tag with Liv. It is then revealed that Liv requested this tag match. Dom then replies, I don't give a damn if you're happy this match is on. Liv is your tag team partner. Then Pierce walks off. Liv comes in saying, I'm doing this for you. I'm giving you a shot at your father. Dom then says, fine. But you need to make sure we win. And Dom walks off with Liv following like a sick little puppy dog that she is. So, interesting opening segment. Definitely a weird continuation with the Liv Dominic Mysterio thing. Yeah, we'll see how that goes a little later on. So we get to our first matchup of the evening, and it's Jey Uso taking on Chad Gable. And they're all taped up from Money in the Bank. Jey Uso his shoulder, Chad Gable his chest, and I think one of his knees was wrapped as well. But they still go at each other. Like, this was an awesome little matchup. Jey Uso counters a Chaos Theory. Hits a crossbody only for a 2 count. Jay goes for a chop. That gets countered into an ankle lock. But then, the lights start to go out. Chad Gable then lets go of the ankle lock. Jey Uso with a spear. Jay kind of hits a one yeet. Gets out of the ring. Then we see smoke filling the arena. The same boom, boom, boom music plays. And Abby the Witch appears on the outside of the ring. Chad Gable then leaves the ring because he's scared out of his mind. Then Abby just turns around. She has another package in her hand and puts it on the announce table and walks off. So we got more Wyatt 6 craziness. Gonna be interesting to see what that's all about. Then we immediately cut to a Sheamus interview where he starts off like, that was weird. Yeah, Sheamus is the best. I don't care. So Sheamus continues his interview saying it's been 15 crazy years and there's a bunch of younger guys coming from my spot who cannot put on a show as good as I am because I put on banger after banger after. But before he can continue, Bronson Reed walks in and he says, "Why are you talking about this loser? I have the match tonight. I'm the future. You're stuck in the past." So then Sheamus turns to Reed and says, "Why don't we take care of this like fellas?" Reed then says, "I'll face you anytime you like, except for tonight." So, we're going to get a Bronson Reed versus Sheamus match sometime in the near future. That's going to be a fun one. So then we cut back to the announce table. Pat McAfee opens the box, laid out by Sister Abigail. Out pulls another VHS tape. So we are going to get that soon. Pat then passes the tape off to someone in production. They don't really show him, which I kind of wish they did. Unless that's on purpose. Because maybe it's one of the unmasked Wyatt Six members. I don't know. I think that could be interesting. Next matchup on the card, we have Bronson Reed taking on Pete Dunne. Now, it has been revealed that Pete Dunne's tag team partner, Tyler Bate, is going to be out with injury for a little while. Get well soon, Tyler Bate. So he is going to run solo for a little bit. And honestly, against Bronson Reed, not a good start, buddy. So this match was actually a load of fun. Pete Dunne with more of his British strong style wrestling. Bronson Reed began pretty much being the absolute monster he is. And then, Pete Dunne doing his usual finger snap gimmick. Pete Dunne was up, going for a moonsault. Bronson Reed pushes him off the top. Goes up himself. It's a tsunami to pick up the win. Post-match, Bronson Reed goes for another tsunami. But Sheamus makes the save. Those two guys brawl. Sheamus with a big knee and a big boot to dispel Bronson Reed from the matchup. And then something kind of interesting happens. Because then Sheamus was about to embrace Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne then pushes Sheamus back. And Pete Dunne leaves. Now what this is a little nod to the Brawling Brutes. That was Sheamus, Pete Dunne, who at the time was Butch, and Ridge Holland, who is actually in NXT right now. And from what I remember, the last time we saw them together, Sheamus just kind of bailed on the Brutes, which I think Pete Dunne is still a little miffed about, which, if that means we're getting Pete Dunne versus Sheamus at some point, I wouldn't mind that little story. I think that could be fun. We then go backstage. We see Sami Zayn walking in the back. Meets up in high fives with Braun Strowman and Awesome Truth. We'll get to that little weird match in a bit. So then we see Judgment Day in the back. He's there hanging out in the clubhouse with Priest coming in saying, they're talking. We don't really hear what they're talking about. Seth comes in right to Priest and he says, "Hey, you got a minute?" Priest is then like, "Sure. Guys, I got this." Sends the rest of Judgment Day away. Seth then says, "Look, it's better to be lucky than good. You were both very lucky and very good at Money in the Bank. You kept your word. I'll keep mine. But if you want to keep this at SummerSlam, You gotta be better. Priest then replies, look, I got a lot to prove. But how about this? While you did keep your word, I'm gonna throw our little gentleman's bet out the window. If you want another shot at the world title, I got you. So they end up shaking hands. Seth Rollins leaves. Then Damian Priest gets a phone call. He answers, hey, where you at? I know who's coming. Not going to say who yet. I'll leave that for our main event. So then we go back to the ring. It's a Sami Zayn promo, because of course it is. Saying how it's an honor standing in Ottawa as a champion. Braun walked into Money Bank with all thinking I was the underdog. I'm not the underdog anymore. I'm the goddamn champion. And we're going to take a second. He put in a top level performance. You got to respect that. It's one thing to take me down. It's another one to keep me down. And before he can continue, out comes Braun Breaker. He gets in the ring. He has a mic, but he doesn't speak into it at first. So then Sami asks, what are you out here for? Are you looking for a fight? You looking for a rematch? Are you going to talk, or are you just going to stare at me? So Braun Breaker puts the mic up to his lips, pretty much says, I came out here to look you in the eye. You're the only man who beat me. I didn't think it would be you. And there's no reason for me to get a rematch. Drops the microphone, turns around, spears Sami Zayn out of his boots. Starts a big old beatdown. Officials come out to try and break it up. They do. They get Braun about halfway up the... Not even halfway up the ramp. While other officials are checking on Sami. He points to the crowd, which gets the officials trying to escort him out. Runs around the ring to where Sami is. Hits another spear. So then Braun is looking to leave. Out comes Ilya Dragunov, who checks on Sami. So then we have a cut. We got Sami Zayn. He's in the back. He's in the trainer's office. Ilya Dragunov is there. He then turns to Adam Pearce, says, give me Braun Breaker. Pearce then says, alright, you want Braun? Okay, you got him. Tonight. So there's a match to look forward to. And then we go to this really weird, yet entertaining matchup, as it's the Judgment Day. That's Finn Balor and JD McDonough, along with Carlito, who's not officially a member, but he might as well be at this point, to take on Braun Strowman, R-Truth, and The Miz, aka Awesome Truth. And this was interesting, as before Braun Strowman made his entrance, Judgment Day and Carlito attack Awesome Truth before the bell. This brings out Braun Strowman, who pretty much runs straight into Judgment Day. Then we have Truth and Carlito in the ring to start us off. R-Truth starts doing the 5 moves of doom to only get a 2 count on JD. This brings in JD and The Miz. JD is looking really good in the ring, tagging out frequent tag outs for Judgment Day to keep The Miz in check and from tagging out. Eventually he does break out, gets into R-Truth. And then he teams up with Braun Strowman, does the runaway train spot to pretty much everyone in Judgment Day, except for JD McDonough, who hops and hides into the into the timekeeper's area. Strowman and Truth then see him. They're about to get in there with him, but they're attacked by Judgment Day, who gets Miz back, Truth back in the ring. Finn Balor with a big old drop kick, a coup de grace for the win for Judgment Day and Carlito. Yeah, definitely a very weird match. I give WWE credit for trying with some 6-man tags, but it's not as captivating as you think. So maybe it's about time to change up the formula a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. So then we cut to backstage. We see CM Punk in Adam Pearce's office, with Adam Pearce saying, look, you guys clearly both want this match, but your interactions have to stop. So for this week, next week, I'm going to give you the week off so that you can do your business and rehab. Punk then chimes in, I've been home a lot. Pearce then replies, look, I know you like to stir things up, but if you cannot behave, your match with Drew is off. So why don't you go home, stay home for next week, and let me handle Drew. So looks like we're not going to see Drew and Punk interact for a little while. Maybe they have a match at SummerSlam. I guess it depends on the Punk situation, if he's healthy enough. So then we cut back to backstage. You see Dom and Liv getting ready, with Dom reiterating, I don't want to team with you. Liv then replies, all I'm asking you is to work on some tag team moves. Dom replies, I just want to beat my dad. Liv then replies, seems tense. She then pushes him onto like a couch and starts, stretching his legs out, kind of simulating sex. So we see the rest of Judgment Day. They look around the corner, kind of Larry Mullen Curly style, just kind of like checking it out. I don't remember who said Liv. I think it was Finn and Carlito saying, oh, that's cool. Dang it, Carlito. Then Priest says, look, I don't want to know what that was. This whole situation with Liv should be done. Dom then replies, you sound just like my dad. So tonight, I'm putting an end to this. So then Dom leaves. And then Finn Balor chimes in and says, shouldn't you tell Dom what's going on later tonight? Then Priest replies, I'm going to keep that one to myself, and I'm going to let Dom find out for himself. Oh, Dom's in trouble. Then we get the latest taped Wyatt 6 interview. It's still Howdy and Bo Dallas, but we do see cuts of the other personalities, Abby, Ramblin' Rabbit, Huskus, and Mercy, and their alter egos. Let's call it that. So that was kind of revealed, kind of, sort of. So, Uncle Howdy asked Bo to tell him more. So Bo Dallas answers, my family, I took the reins. I've been discarded, forgotten. They're so happy I remembered them. We'll have them begging for mercy. Won't help. Grief is the price you pay for love. We must set the captives free. You think we are sick? Sick is what will be. So, I understand a lot of people not really enjoying this. This is meta on so many levels. I am loving the Wyatt Six. It has so much into it, yet it's not revealing everything just yet. And that big reveal, I'm ready for it. I can't wait. So then we see Adam Pearce backstage. He's about to go into his office. Chad Gable comes in saying, "Did you see that latest Wyatt Six video? I know they're talking about me, but I see you. You're not doing anything to help me." Pearce then replies, "No, why don't you stop, think, and figure out why?" So then Chad Gable says, "Alright, fine. I'm going to do this my way. And after the month I've had, how about a vacation?" So then Chad Gable leaves. Adam Pearce opens the door to his office. Who's sitting in one of the chairs? It's Bo Dallas. Uh-oh. That's going to be interesting. That's an interesting little wrinkle in the story. Because if you don't remember, when Bray Wyatt was doing his, not Uncle Howdy, his sort of Mr. Rogers gimmick, Adam Pearce was kind of a part of it. Because he played a character named Postman Pearce. So, yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see the Postman again. We then see a nice little vignette for Damage Control saying how they're going to change, get back on track, continue to dominate, etc., etc. Next matchup. Unsurprisingly good match, as it's Ilya Dragunov taking on Braun Breaker. And the combination of, the technical wizardry of Dragunov and just the sheer power of Braun Breaker was enough to keep me hooked. These two beat the heck out of each other. Near the end, Braun Breaker was a bit out of control, including Dragunov hitting a knee with Breaker going for a spear. Then Breaker picks up one of the announce table chairs and just throws it at Ilya Dragunov's face, causing the DQ, with your winner being Ilya Dragunov. Breaker slides himself and Dragunov back in the ring, starts a little bit of a beatdown, but out comes Sami Zayn to make the save. He's surrounded by officials telling him no. They brawl for a little bit, including Sami clotheslining Braun over the top rope. He checks on Dragunov. Then Breaker, from behind, takes Sami by the leg, drags him out of the ring, and lawn darts him into the ring post and into the announce table to end the segment. So, yeah, it looks like we're headed to either a rematch between Braun and Sami for SummerSlam, or we're going to have some sort of triple threat, because either way, I think that could be fun. Next up, we have a Damian Priest vignette where he's calling out Gunther for their SummerSlam match. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. We then get a promo from the Final Testament, mainly Karrion Kross, who pretty much says Kofi will not be here. he and the New Day held the New Blood back as they smiled on. The old guard will make their way for the new. No, you hear me, Woods. You beat me when Kofi couldn't. New Day is dead, but you're the last one holding on. Oh my goodness, those are fighting words. That should be a fun little feud. Although I'm surprised it's continuing. Maybe this will lead to Big E coming back, maybe? I don't know. It's an interesting situation, to be sure. Next up, we got 6 women tag team match playa. We have kind of the full force of Damage Control, at least for now, with Asuka hurt. It's Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane taking on Lyra Valkyria, Katana Chance, and Kaden Carter. And this match had no right to be as good as it was. Just the right amount of time. Everyone getting their stuff in. Eventually, Damage Control does take control, including Sky hitting an over-the-moonsault to pick up the win for Damage Control. And as they're celebrating, in comes a hooded trio being revealed as Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville. Ooh, there's a dangerous trio with Stark and Sonya hitting a super kick knee combo, and Sonya hitting the Deville's Advocate, which is a great name for a finisher. I'm so happy Sonya Deville is back, and it does seem like she is going to be taken seriously, which is always good. I'm not sure who's going to be the tag team going into this. I guess we'll see. So next up, we have a backstage interview with Zelina Vega and Rey Mysterio. They start out with Zelina Vega saying, I don't know if Dom is lucky tonight. Dom cost me a title shot. I'm better than her partner. These two are obviously a hot mess. Rey Mysterio finishes off the interview with, tonight we put an end to Dom and Liv. So, short but sweet interview with the LWO, which I think it's time to retire the LWO. I don't know. It's not really working for me anymore. Then we go somewhere else backstage, as it's Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark's interview to say their stuff. Pretty much saying, look, we send a message to everyone of who runs the locker room. We've been tired of waiting. Sonya revealing that she's been trying to help Sonya and Stark reach their full potential. And Damage Control is just a warning shot. Then in comes the women's tag team champions, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, saying that you girls are all talk. We have the titles. But Shayna Baszler says, not for much longer. Oh, dang. That's fighting words right there. We then get a nice Gunther vignette, hyping up his match with Damian Priest for the world title at SummerSlam, which they've been building really nice to this. I'm liking what they're doing. And now we go to our very interesting main event. It's a mixed tag team match playa, as you have Rey Mysterio teaming up with Zelina Vega to take on Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. Now, interesting details for a mixed tag. There is no intergender wrestling for this. It's men versus men, and if one of these guys tags out to the women, the other woman has to come in and take them on. Although I have seen some true intergender tag matches from the WWE, they're not doing it here. And honestly, this was a very, very weird, I'm not going to say awkward match, but it was definitely at least a little bit slow to start. But when Dom and Ray got in, things picked up, including Dom trying to remove the mask of his father, which he has definitely done before. Eventually, Liv and Vega did get back in, and they stepped it up after a little while. Rey Mysterio then hits a 619 onto Dom, who goes for a 619 himself, but that gets caught into the frog splash, only for a 2. Liv then goes out in the ring, gets a chair, tries to throw it at Vega. The ref sees it, and he, pushes it out of the ring. And then Liv knocks Rey Mysterio off the top rope, going for a frog splash. Dom then hits his own frog splash to pick up the win for he and Liv Morgan. Post-match, Dom and Liv then share an embrace. Then they're down on the mat. It looks like they're finally going to show affection for one another, or at least Dom is going to receive it. Whose music should hit? This is my brutality! It's Rhea Bloody Ripley making her return. Liv hears that music, sees her come out, bails out of the ring, jumps over the barricade into the crowd, runs off. Rhea is then between her and the ring, in which Dom is still in there. Rhea then gets in the ring, has a little stare down with Dom, pretty much say, "What's going on here? What are you doing?" Then Dom is like, "Mommy's back!" Goes for a hug. Rhea then pushes him away. And yeah, that's how Raw finishes. That was definitely a very interesting episode of Raw. The teases were immaculate. And then the final reveal. Woo! That Rhea return. It's going to be an all-timer, I think. So, yeah, it looks like we're going to get Rhea versus Liv at SummerSlam. Which, yes please. I'm not sure what Dom is going to do. Is it going to be like a Mariah May situation at Forbidden Door where she's in both corners? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I can't believe this was Raw's A story. Like I said, Raw was kind of up and down, but overall was pretty entertaining. I do wish there was a tad bit more wrestling and some, actual pinfall wins. Although Braun throwing that chair was awesome. So, yeah. Nothing really too bad to say about Raw this week, but if I could say one thing that was bad, WWE, if you got a story to tell, don't just tell it on the social medias after the show. Ask for a little longer. I'm not saying another hour. Give it another 5-10 minutes at the end. Do a little overrun. Because I'm telling you, there is nothing that's going to be as popular as Raw that comes on after. So have a little extra time to play around with some stuff. Or to at least finish a segment. Because this is like third or fourth week in a row that the show just ends when there was more to say. So that's just me. Raw was definitely enjoyable. We now go to NWA Power. We get another little recap of the Crockett Cup so far. as we go to our first of two. Actually, this is the first of two Crockett Cup semi-final matches, as we got the World Tag Team Champions Blunt Force Trauma taking on Kratos and Odinson of the Immortals. And this was about as hoss fight as you can get. Like, this was absolutely two powerhouse teams going right at it. And at one point, we had Aaron Stevens. He had the loaded glove ready to go. Goes for a strike. Odinson ducks. Hits Carnage, who was not the legal man. So he's out for a while. Kratos and Odinson pretty much, have their way with damage, including a big old pounce by Odinson. Kratos goes right in for the pinfall for the win for the Immortals, who are moving on to the finals against the Southern Six. Ooh, that's an interesting little final right there. Let's see who gets it going. We then have a little short but sweet interview with the Immortals, saying, everyone at home, everyone here has heard enough from us. We're going to win the cup. So, like I said, nice, easy interview. We then go backstage for the Ella Envy Miss Star interview, with Ella taking the lead, saying, you guys seem surprised. It was only a matter of time. I was done babysitting your sister, Kenzie. I was the only one trying to keep our team together. But now I got someone in my corner. Miss Star then takes a microphone and says, I'm the daughter of the manager of champions, so that must make me royalty, as you're looking at the next women's champion. We'll get to that match a little bit later, because that was a really good one. First, we get this more character-driven matchup as Mims takes on the debuting Baron von Storm. Now, if you don't know this story, first round of the Crockett Cup had Tim Storm and Jack Stain teaming together, but Tim Storm suffered a little head wound, or he snapped or something. And so this brought out this new character, Baron von Storm, in which, he's I don't really know what he is. It's weird. He's kind of aristocratish, but he doesn't come out with, like, money or something. It's weird. I don't know. Yeah, this match was pretty much the Baron von Storm show. Mims did get some good stuff in, but eventually Mims actually tries to leave the ring after a few teases of the Iron Claw. But Jack Stain blocks Mims from leaving. Mims gets back in. They go at it for a little bit. Then as Baron von Storm was going for the claw, G's grabbed Storm by the leg. Mims with some shoulder tackles, some headbutts, gets in a nerve pinch on himself, on Storm. But Storm eventually breaks out. Misses on a big splash, goes for the claw, but Mims blocks it like this, which is a great counter for the claw. Eventually, Baron von Storm does get the Iron Claw in to get the submission victory. And at first, Storm doesn't let go, so G's and Jack Stain come in to break it up. Mims and G's leave to end this matchup. It was kind of a little bit of an awkward, clunky match, but I do think it worked in selling what Baron von Storm is. He's a little unhinged, he takes advantage of certain rules, and he's not afraid to get hurt. So, I guess we'll see what goes on with Baron Von Storm in the coming weeks. Then we go to our main event of the evening, as it's the women's title match, as Ella Envy takes on Kenzie Paige. And this was a fun match because these two used to be a team together. Now they're opponents, and they countered pretty much everything in their arsenals, including a gnarly hip attack, which that looked a bit rough. Kenzie Paige with the sling blade, only to get a 2. Ella was trying to go for a Death Valley driver that gets blocked with a roll-up, only for a 2. Kenzie with a big old super kick, only for a 2. Ella with a TKO Shining Wizard combo, which is a great combination of moves. Weirdly, that only gets a 2 count. Then coming out on the apron is Kylie Paige, Kenzie's little sister. But Miss Star takes care of her. The chop block. This distracts Ella long enough for Kenzie to get a roll-up, only for a 2. Hitting the Kenzie Cutter for the victory and to retain her title. Like I said, these two were pretty much perfect for one another. This was a great little match. And I can't wait to see what Kenzie Paige does during the rest of her reign. And heck, maybe we revisit this match again at some point. So, Power, mostly good. Maybe a little too much downtime, but it did feel like everything had a purpose. And we finish up this week in pro wrestling, of course, with AEW Dynamite. We start off with an Will Ospreay promo, who is, honestly, if you don't know, he's one of my favorite wrestlers going currently. As he says, last week, I was appalled by what happened. I've heard rumors of MJF. He is clearly the most insecure kid in wrestling. Garcia earned his spot to challenge me for the international title. As soon as he comes close to MJF's status, he hits a pile driver, and you blame them because you opened up. Now, I know you got ADD. Well, I got ADHD. There's no excuse for you being a prick. And I've had a few interactions with MJF backstage. And he's been insecure ever since the big war of 2024 didn't go your way. And I got more talent in my left nut than you do in your whole body. And that's the main reason you don't like me. I remind you of what AEW should be. And I'm going to be honest, you only care about yourself. I found the guy that I need to clean up after. You're their scumbag. You say you're the best version of MJF. Well, now I welcome it. That level is on the ground floor while I'm up here. And this time, I'm not in the UK. So where are you? MJF, I'm here to asking for a fight. Let's handle this. So, as soon as he says that, MJF's music plays. But he doesn't come out. Instead, he is up on the Tron, and he's sipping on a little wine. Very good, Mr. Max. Then Max pretty much says, look, you guys thought I was coming out? You know I deserve better. I've beaten every one of their heroes. You're nothing more but a flavor of the month. A little dancing toy monkey. And while I'm not replaceable, I'm a generational talent. You're going to move on. You want MJF tonight? Well, I don't wrestle for the fun of the game. So next week, it's going to be MJF versus Ospreay. And that's when the feed cuts for MJF. Ospreay turns to the camera, says, I'm going to be punching you in the face until you start singing. You'll see you next week, you little bitch. Dang. That was, those were some fighting words. I am surprised we are getting this match next week. This definitely sounded like an all-in match more, considering now Daniel Garcia has been written off of TV for some reason. So, yeah, maybe that is still the plan. I guess we'll see. But, yeah, Ospreay versus MJF. That's gonna be a dang good matchup. We then go to our first matchup of the evening, and it's the Men's Owen Hart Cup Finals with our special guest enforcer, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, who is, friends with Owen Hart when he passed away. So the match, oh boy, it's a doozy. It's the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, against Hangman Adam Page. And they start off white hot. Like, it looked like Adam Page wanted to punch Danielson's head off his shoulders. Danielson gets back into it with his technical prowess. Let's face it, Danielson is one of the most technical dudes on the roster. Hangman then gets back into it, including some gnarly looking big boots. He then, at one point, loosens one of the covers to the turnbuckles and then hits him with it. I think that's what happened. Then hits a moonsault, pile driver, only for a 2 count. Hangman then goes up top. He gets pushed off by Danielson. Danielson hits a senton, couple of kicks. Then Hangman grabs Danielson after one of them. Hits a big old pile driver, only for a 2 count. At one point, we see Danielson pretty much busted wide open. So Jeff Jarrett, who has been sitting with the Owen Hart Cup, comes down, checks out Danielson for a little bit. Page then throws Danielson back in the ring, has a little stare-off with Jeff Jarrett, and then Hangman just slaps Jarrett right in the face. That was nutty. Page gets back in the ring. They start just beating the heck out of each other, including Hangman Adam Page removing the injury tape from Bryan's shoulders and hitting the butt of his elbow with it, which that looked absolutely brutal. Danielson then gets up. It's a Busaiku knee into a couple of headbutts. Hangman tries for a suplex. That gets blocked. Danielson then gets set up. Goes for the Busaiku knee. Adam Page moves. Hits the referee instead. Then a little bit afterwards, Page takes off his own belt. Starts whipping Danielson with it. And Jeff Jarrett gets up from his chair. Goes into the ring. Has a face-off with Hangman. Hangman then pushes Jeff Jarrett in the corner. Jeff Jarrett gets up, unbuttoning his shirt, revealing a ref shirt. That's right, Double J, special guest referee. Danielson with a quick little roll-up, only for a 2. gets him in the label lock. Paige then fights out of it. Paige then with a crazy roll through into a dead eye that only gets a 2 count. It's not just a frontwards but a backwards buckshot lariat, only for a 2 count. Paige then gets Danielson in the label lock, and while Danielson was trying to get out of it, he passes out. Then Jeff Jarrett takes Danielson's arm, raises it, lets it fall. Danielson's arm stays up. Danielson then with the roll up for your winner and the new Owen Hart Cup champion. It's Bryan Danielson. And he's celebrating in the ring. Jeff Jarrett then goes back up the ramp to the trophy, grabs it. Martha Hart then comes out, gets the Owen Hart Cup championship, and they present it to Daniel Bryan, who's now wearing the title and holding the cup, which is awesome. I have seen a couple people a little bit disappointed with this result because they wanted Hangman and Swerve to continue their rivalry, in which I would not have been mad with that. But with Bryan Danielson's retirement coming up, or at least he's going part-time in in-ring stuff, I think the bigger match is Danielson versus Swerve for All In, which, I will never be mad at Bryan Danielson getting a title shot. Never. Because his story over his career is him struggling for that shot, him fighting for it. And while he might not always get it, he gets the job done. Remember WrestleMania 30 and that whole story? This is pretty much the opposite of that. And it's I don't mind it. So, post-match, Swerve comes out, has a little stare down with Danielson. Then apparently Danielson leaves for whatever reason. So, Swerve is out there with Prince Nana. We then get a little Swerve promo, who says, I stood on the stage, staring across from Ospreay, and the best in the world is who holds this title. I beat Ospreay at Forbidden Door, and you're looking at the best in the world. Ooh. Congratulations to Bryan. It'll be a true honor to main event All In with you. And while you do still hold a W over me, I don't remember that. When did they have a match? That's a weird one. But remember, I still hold grudges. I'm the most dangerous man in AEW. So let's turn to Blood and Guts, as the EVPs offered me a spot on their team, but instead I'll be joining Blood and Guts on Team AEW, because no Team AEW should be without their world champion. So I'm going to end up doing two things: beating Ospreay and leading Team AEW in Blood and Guts. It is now the Dynasty era, which, interesting term. So the top, I'm going to do the, so the top guys in AEW right now are Swerve, Ospreay, and Okada. So it's my turn to do this. Okada, I want you next week, and we'll show you how to make it rain. And it will be your final countdown. Then some fighting words. And we're getting Ospreay versus... No, Okada versus Swerve next week as well. We building up to a pay-per-view or something? What the heck? Love it. Absolutely love it. We then get a nice little video recap of the Women's Owen Hart Cup, with the final coming up a little bit later tonight. We then have a insult video from the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn on the Young Bucks, as the Acclaimed have a tag title shot coming up. So this next match was very weird, as it's Samoa Joe taking on Chris Jericho in a Calgary street fight, which, got all the weapons, whatever. Start off in the ring, and they brawled for a while. Brian Keith is ringside for Chris Jericho. And Samoa Joe pretty much immediately takes care of him. Jericho with a couple of chair shots. Jericho then gets a usual black bag of something. It's been like Legos, glass, whatever. And one day it was hockey pucks. Now it's horseshoes, which was very weird. Little back and forth. Joe eventually gets control of Jericho. It's a body slam onto the horseshoes, including a senton that only gets a 2 count. Jericho with then a low blow into a walls of Jericho, but Joe gets out. Goes for the muscle buster at one point, but that gets blocked. Jericho then tries for the drop kick. Joe does his walking away nope spot, which pops me every single time. They then brawl into the crowd, throw each other into the barricade. Samoa Joe takes someone's popcorn and shoves it into Jericho's face. They then go into the backstage area. They brawl in there for a little bit. Jericho then takes a hot cup of coffee, tosses it into Joe's face, tries for a Judas effect, that misses. Joe holds a coquina clutch. Then out from some random room comes Big Bill, who breaks it up with a chair shot. Brian Keith and Big Bill then attack Joe. Jericho then takes off his own belt shot. Then the trio of the Learning Tree put Samoa Joe on a forklift, like the long parts of the forklift. Jericho then gets behind the wheel and drives it through some obvious drywall. So, that was very interesting finish. So your winner via the doctor's decision is Chris Jericho. Then we see Samoa Joe get taken out of the arena on a stretcher, gets loaded into the back of an ambulance, driven off with the Learning Tree waving goodbye to Samoa Joe. So apparently Joe is going to be on season 2 of, oh god, what show is that? Oh god, Twisted Metal. That's it. So he's going to reprise his role at Sweet Tooth, which, yeah, I'm into that. We then get this international fatal 4-way match where the winner gets a future shot at the international title. Our competitors, Claudio Castagnoli, The Bastard Pac, Kyle Fletcher, and New Japan's own Tomohiro Ishii. And they throw everything but the kitchen sink at one another, including Claudio with a giant swing to Fletcher. Ishii just running down fools. Eventually, Pac hits a Black Arrow and a Brutalizer on Fletcher to pick up the win. So, he's getting a title shot. Not 100% sure when, but what I'm thinking, maybe we get that match at Wembley. Anyway, we post-match, Pac gets a microphone. He says, it hasn't been sunshine and rainbows for me here coming back to AEW. I've been doing nothing but eat up losses. Well, that ends now. The stars are all aligning in my favor now. The bastard will be back. I could listen to Pac talk all night long. He is just so eloquent in what he says. And he's so good at it. We then start with a kind of backstage update with Renee Paquette. Hangman Page then pushes her to the side to go to a certain locker room. He then knocks on the door of the locker room. It's revealed to be the Elite. Okada then comes out, asked, "Can I help you?" Hangman Page tries to go in. Okada stops him. "Can I help you?" And it looks like they're about to come to blows. The Young Bucks come out saying, "Look, it's okay, it's okay." "Huh, fancy seeing you here." Then Hangman Page, in just 3 words, says, "I'll do it." Now, what's he going to do? Apparently, he's going to be on the Elite's Blood and Guts team. That's going to be interesting to see that dynamic come to fruition. And, we'll see how Blood and Guts does in the next couple weeks. We then see Mercedes Moné. She's trying to redo her championship celebration from a few weeks ago. She shouts out the Young Bucks for the extra security. And let's set the record straight. I am the past, present, and future. And I'm saying I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Mercedes, that is a heel turn and a half saying that in Calgary. You are insane, and I love it. And this is a shout to Dr. Britt Baker. Our match at All In is not happening because I would beat you down so bad I would leave you for dead. So a toast to the 2-time champion. Toast to Moné. That gets interrupted by Dr. Britt Baker DMD's music. She walks down, security is getting in her way, and she's fighting through every single person. She gets in the ring. Moné pretty much immediately bails. They start jawing each other. That's the end of the segment. I need to see that match at All In. That's going to be one of the best matches on the card. Bar none. Anyway, then we cut backstage. We see Brandon Cutler. He's kind of got like a half face paint thing going on. And he's begging someone, "No, please, no more. Don't do it." Camera pans up. It's Darby Allin, who looks right into the camera and says, "Elite, you thought this was over. It's just the beginning. See you next week." Short, sweet, to the point promo. I kind of hope he's adding Blood and Guts, because that would be awesome. We then go to our main event of the evening, which women main eventing Dynamite. You don't see it often. Appreciate it when it does. So we got the Owen Hart Cup Women's Final coming up, as it's Mariah May taking on Willow Nightingale. Willow going for the 2-peat, and May going for her first. And this was, at least at first, dominated by Willow with her power. Eventually, May definitely got her stuff in after a while. Ooh, Willow with the biggest pounce I've ever seen. At one point, May hits Willow with a headbutt. Then we see a masked person attacking Willow. Then we see, while the ref was dealing with May, then we see a big old knee strike by Chris Statlander. So the masked person was revealed to be Stokely Hathaway. Mariah May then hits a big old knee, tries for a Mayday, but that gets blocked. Willow with a roll-up, only for a 2. May goes for a Storm Zero, that gets blocked. Willow with a Cannonball, Death Valley Driver, that gets blocked. May with the roll-up, and your winner, and your new Women's Owen Hart Cup Championship winner, Mariah May. Then we see May and Toni Storm. They're kind of skipping up the ramp up to the title and the championship. May takes the title. Wham! Right into Toni Storm's mug. She then blows Luther. She then takes one of Toni Storm's high heels, starts battering her with it. Toni Storm is busted wide open. Officials then come out to try and stop it. May fights them off. Then just digs the heel of the shoe into Toni Storm's face. And standing over her to end the show. I'm going to say this. I did not see a Mariah May heel turn coming. But that was enthralling. That was a great story AEW told. And that's going to continue at All In. And I'm excited for it. Who wouldn't be excited for something like this? Now, am I a little mad that Willow Nightingale didn't get the 2-peat? Maybe. But honestly, this story makes sense. And if you're not hyped, especially after the attack by Mariah May, I don't know what to tell you. I am enthralled by what AEW are doing. They are definitely stepping things up a bit, and I couldn't be happier. Alright, that is it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry if there was some coughing, but couldn't help it. So that is it from me for today. On Sunday, it's going to be something a little bit different as I reveal the rosters for the 631 my fantasy league and their all-star team. So, gonna reveal that for Sunday. Hope you guys tune in for that. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.